Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast number 34 of the Side Hustle Heroes HQ. Joined with my partner, Andrew. Andrew, how are you doing?
Doing great, man. How are you doing?
Man, I am doing awesome. I'm excited we've got some really good subjects to cover today. We're going to, of course, cover our numbers as we always do. We're going to talk a little bit about TikTok and how you can really kind of just jump right on there and start selling. I put a product on there, and Andrew has put several products on there, and we're going to jump right into our numbers here just in a sec, but after that, we're going to have Andrew do a little bit of a deep dive into the FBA. That's a little bit of a, follow through from last week, a continuation, if you will. He went over a lot of that last week. If you didn't catch that, make sure to go back and listen to podcast 33. He does the introduction of his Fulfilled by Amazon business, and he's going to talk a lot about bundles today because he's a few steps down the road. He's not a rookie on this. He's got some really cool insights for that. Andrew, you want to kick us off with your numbers for Amazon
Yes, sir.
influencer?
Yeah. Yesterday, I was at $29 and past 178 and past 35.28. My last couple of days have been a little better. I've started to sell some nice, more expensive things.
Your past 30 was how much?
528, but still struggling. But my last couple of days have been pretty good. Past 7 days, I think it's starting to go up a little bit, and I'm starting to sell some more expensive items. Starting to sell the things that I've really got some good commissions from. Someone else was on the Facebook group. I have to confirm this. I don't know if you've looked at it lately, but someone said the bottom of the carousel is gone. There's always going to be some, not always. There's from time to time, there's going to be some screwing around with the Amazon screws around with the carousel a little bit. At this point, I'm not going to be alarmed because they do that. They take it off, they put it back on. I don't know if it's a glitch. It's not something that they're testing. It's on purpose. I don't know. But guys, for those of you who are not familiar with the carousel, you got your top of carousel, basically where you have your images and you have usually one video. It's part of that. Usually the manufacturer has a video there. And then part of that, if you click on that video, the manufacturer video, you'll also see some videos, similar related videos, whatever it says for that product there. Bottom of the carousel is usually right around where the product reviews are. You'll see that sometimes it's on top, usually. Mobile's a different place, but in general, there's two different places. Sometimes they pull off either one or both. And I've heard usually it's the bottom of the carousel. It disappears for a little while.
Well, I just jumped over there and looked at it, and of course, I'm using that IPX that we talked about last
Yeah.
week. And you're putting that in the show notes. You'll put that in there again this week,
I
right?
put it in there. Yeah, I'll put it in again. Yeah.
I'd throw it in there again. I just checked whenever I looked. It makes it super easy. Shows if you're on the upper, the lower, or neither. Or also, it's kind of nice because if your video is rejected, it'll just be blank. I can get a really quick look. I just jumped over there and looked real quick. And no, I'm on both, on a lot of them. I'm on the bottom, on lower on some. So it's still
Okay.
going.
It's not. It's probably just, it's a case by case basis. And then I don't know if you check it to see if the tool is accurate. It might be caching some things in there. Maybe we can just check to see.
I've checked it in the past. I didn't check it just now, but yeah. It's everything it's told me. Everything I've spot checked has been 100%.
Here's something that's really cool. When I first started doing Amazon Influencer, my wife's like, whatever, you just do this thing, and you're always on to doing something new and all that.
True.
And she pretty much, it wasn't really. She did like one review for a cup or something, Stanley. She did a Stanley, and then that was about it. And then we were talking the other day, and she's into like making bread now, and she wanted to get this wheat mill thing, and she's like, the one I've got, it's a manual one. It's really hard to turn. This automatic one, this electric one, I really want to get this one. I was like, oh, how much is it? And she's like, well, it's like $300. I said, okay. So would you be willing to do a review if we get that? She's like, I was just going to mention that. Yeah, I was going to say, I'll do a review for you if you let me buy it. And she was saying it a nice way, obviously. If she wants something, and for her stuff, there's a little bit, usually with us, I don't know how you do things, Jim Ed. If it's over $100, usually there's a discussion.
Yeah,
Like
that's about how we do things.
Talk, right? So is that a respect for you? And I said, yes, go ahead and get it. And so she did it. She's been using it. She loves it. But that's something too. People always ask, do you have to buy stuff for Amazon Influencer? No, you don't have to. But here's the thing. It's almost, and that was one of our conversations, there was a wheat mill, I think it's called wheat mill grinder, whatever it's called, there was one she wanted, but because it's not on Amazon. It wasn't on Amazon. You can be proud of me, Jim Ed. It wasn't on Amazon, the one she wanted. But I said, is there one on Amazon you might want? Yeah, there's this one over here. We checked it out. She liked it. We bought it. That's how it started. The Amazon influencer is kind of influencing how we make our purchases now. I did buy an ice maker, but there just wasn't really a good quality brand on Amazon for whatever reason. But that's how it's sort of changing the way we do things. I am making sure when we make these big purchases that at least I check to see, is this item available on Amazon? That's the way a lot of people like. There was someone who had a question about our course saying, I don't have to buy anything to be a member of Amazon Influencer. Is that correct? That is correct. Now, if you are going to buy do you buy things on Amazon? Hopefully you do. If you don't buy anything on Amazon, then you're going to have to go to your friend's house, or you have to do
Yeah,
something, right?
if you live in a car, it's going to be difficult.
Just drive to people's houses and hopefully
That will be convenient since you live in the car. Just
take a shower,
load
take
up,
a shower at their house, and then do some reviews.
swing
Yeah.
by the LA Fitness, get your shower.
Oh yeah. Hey, TikTok. Let's talk about TikTok a little bit. Oh, you didn't do your numbers. I'm sorry, buddy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, let's
Anyway,
jump into my
I always
numbers.
get these tangents, but anyway, so I'm optimistic, but there's always things going around. But when I have 30 or above, I feel pretty good, because that's kind of like in that 900 range. I am adding some new reviews up. Also, I have added a couple of reviews lately.
That's
I'm
good.
hoping those will hit soon. Jim Ed, your numbers. Oh, by the way,
So
I love your mic. I mean, nice microphone. First of all, you sound good. If I sound
yeah.
tinty, forgive me, guys. I'm not. I've made the plunge to get a nice microphone, but it does look nice. And then secondly, let me guess, you bought this on Amazon. Thirdly, have you done a review yet on that microphone?
Well, let's play a little game right here. We'll talk about how much some of this equipment costs, and then you can guess if I've done the review yet or not. How's
I
that?
don't want to play a game. This is a
We're
podcast.
playing games, baby. I bought a Shure microphone, and it's just like buying a new car. As soon as you get it on the road, you start seeing that, well, everybody drives this car. I've been seeing all kinds of major celebrities that have podcasts, mostly like comedians, using the same one. It's very common. I talked to a guy at church that's an audio guy. He was very familiar with it. It's one of his favorite microphones. I got like an amplifier and a thing with some knobs on it as well. So all of those things were needed apparently, and the microphone was about 400. And by the time I got the arm and the two other electronic items, it's about $800 in it. Do you think I've done a review on it yet?
Yes.
I've had this for about a week. This is the first podcast I've done on it, and I have not gotten around to doing a review on it yet, unfortunately.
Are you going to?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Let's go over your numbers, Jim Ed.
Okay, cool. So yesterday, $94. It's a little down. I like to be at 150 or more. 7 days, it's down as well. 851. Typically, I want to be in the 1,000 to 1,200 range, hopefully, or more. And then on the 30-day, of course, we're still coming off of some of December stuff. We're down to 46.57. And so far, 8 days, 10 days into January, it's January the 10th as we record this, I am at 1,235, $1,235.
Okay. A third of the way there.
Yeah. That's
Disappointed
going to
or
put
what?
me around $4,000.
Okay. Yeah. Have you still
It's
been
okay. Pretty
doing a
good.
lot of doing a lot of reviews still?
Some, not a lot. I've had a couple spurts where I've done a few. We have a class coming up. Did you know that? Yeah, you knew that.
Class?
We
Yeah.
have a class coming up. We're doing this proven AZ influencer.com program. I've actually contacted my folks in China and let them know. It's funny. They are using translation software. When you tell them something, sometimes it may not come through exactly right. I'll let them know that, hey, starting January the 12th, I'm not really looking for any more products. I did put the caveat in there that if it's over $100, still ask me. Or if it is any pool products, ask me, because I have a pool and some of those tend to do pretty good sometimes. So it's funny. I sent that out to all of them, like all the about 20 different ones that I even occasionally work with. One that I occasionally work with sent me a thing back saying, hey, do you want to do this? It's about $310 robot pool cleaner. I was like, heck yeah, I do. Send it.
Nice.
So
Good.
yeah, that might, you never know, that might do okay.
It's a good idea just reaching out to them. It's a good idea too. There's been a couple that just disappeared. There's ones that are just trusty. They send me almost every week. Actually sometimes several times a week they'll send
Yeah.
me a list. And just following up with them, if it kind of goes away for a little while, just following up with them could be really good.
There's one that that Cody and I both work with. There are 3 that Cody and I both do work with. And one of those, which is by far the busiest one, they would send 3 or 4 or 5 products like 6 nights a week. And they are ones that pays $10 a pop, and she owes Cody like $250. And I don't know how much she owes me, but she's kind of gone radio silent on both of us for
Hmm,
several days, kind of wondering what's going on. But that's
interesting.
kind of the closest call into like something not getting paid, or concern that may not get paid for something. But you know,
The Chinese New Year's coming up pretty soon too. Do you know when it is?
yeah, I used to work for a company where we got everything in China. Typically, it starts. I don't know that it's a certain date, but it starts around the end of January and goes for just about a month.
Yeah, yeah. I need to put an order in. I got some stuff I'm doing with Amazon, so I need to place an
Yeah,
order
I
for.
was kind of wondering if these people that are hooking us up with sellers were just going to probably go radio silent once that hits.
They might. They
Yeah,
might.
they might. Well, I think we were getting ready to talk about, you were wanting to jump into the TikTok and bypass my numbers. Now that my numbers are
Oh
passed,
yeah.
let's talk about the TikTok for just a sec. Let me start with mine because I don't have much experience and I'd like to get your thoughts on it. I'll tell you the little bit that I've seen. I've put one video up that is that's the only video I've put up on this channel. I have another TikTok channel that I think I put about 6 videos up on year and a half ago, and I just didn't do it. YouTube was
Mhm.
where I was at. I just stuck with that. But now that they're offering, and Andrew again has presented this to me of, hey, by the way, you may want to check this out. I did. Hey, you can start selling on TikTok. People are making a lot of money. I found a video, sent it over to Andrew, and he did his work on it, his due diligence, and found out that yeah, there's a good amount of money that could possibly be made. But I think there is a definite strategy to it that you've got to hit. And by putting one video up, I have not done that. I put the video up on a product that I already had that came from China for free to me. It was a backup camera, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto situation. So I'd already done the video. I'd already learned about it, did the long format of about 2.5 minutes on Amazon. Then I came up with about a 23-second, I believe it was, maybe 28-second video for TikTok with the portrait style, and did that video, put it out, got about 900 views on it, which I think is probably pretty okay. Did not sell any. I think I've got 50 or so product views on it, which is probably, it really don't matter, I don't think, too much unless they're buying it. So then I learned from Andrew that, hey, you can go in there and request products, which I'm definitely putting the cart before the horse. I requested a bunch of
Yeah.
products.
Did you get
I
some?
told him I didn't get any. I had one kind of come back to me and said, hey, I'd like to see a little more on your TikTok channel. We liked it.
Told you,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, you told me. But I mean, it's already too late. I'd already asked for all this stuff. What I was thinking was, after I started asking for some of this stuff, I'm like, why would they send this to me? It's like, hey, here's my Amazon channel too. The thing with Amazon, I don't know of a good way of doing it, and maybe somebody can teach me up on this one, coach me up on it. I don't know of a good way to say, hey, I would really like this product. This is the product I'm looking for. I'd like to have it for free, and then send it to me. You know, on TikTok, there's that very thing, but I don't have a presence on TikTok yet. So, but anyway, they reached back out and said, hey, we want to see your TikTok channel. We need to see, it's cool that you've got the Amazon, but I need to see your
Yeah.
TikTok numbers. And I was like, well, there's really nothing to see
Yeah.
at
Yep.
this point. What's your experience in it? I know you've put some stuff up and maybe even sold something, right?
Yeah. I think there's a couple different approaches. I'm actually going to be doing both. So there's one approach where you are the brand owner and you've got your store. In fact, I think one of the best practices is to have, there is TikTok shop for sure, but you have your Shopify store, your storefront set up. And the reason why that's good is that, like, I already had this hooked into a supplier of some coffee, Harvey Coffee I'm selling, to drop ship relationship. They actually roast all the coffee, and then once an order is placed, they get the order automatically goes to them, and they ship the product out to the customer. So that's a perfect drop ship method. It's automated exactly. TikTok, the way it works, you have your TikTok store. I'll do some videos, and my shop is connected with my TikTok shop is connected with Shopify, where my Harvey Coffee company is. All my products are there. I did the connection. Whenever someone places an order in the TikTok shop, as soon as it goes through, it kicks it out to my Shopify store, and I can approve the order, and then it kicks it out to the company that actually roasts the coffee. So it's
What
all
does you approving the order look like?
click, click.
But you have to click. You got to kind of like glance at every one of them and click it.
That's what it looked like. Yeah, I hadn't seen this before, but I think because it's coming from another channel, you just say whatever it said, request fulfillment or something like that. I've noticed that also with when you're doing Printify. I did some things with Printify. Same kind of thing. Whenever you're third party, there's probably something in there that says, okay, Shopify is going to say, look, this is from a third party. You need to be the one to say click, but it takes 2 seconds, right, just to do
Yeah,
that.
they're making sure you're doing what you mean to do versus somebody's hacked your account, I guess. And
Something, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Then how that would work is there's a couple different approaches, but ultimately, with my coffee, I did a video this morning just walking the dogs saying, hey, here are my dogs. My dogs are basically representatives for Harvey Coffee. They have their own little coffee. Like Harvey's got breakfast blend. Daisy's got and she's right here with me right now. This line, she's so sweet. She has the Columbia coffee. I have other friends that have dogs that are sort of representing different coffees, basically named after them. It's a Harvey's breakfast blend, for instance. And anyway, I just did a little. I was just walking my dogs, just a little video, and that thing just popped off. It got almost 4,000 views or something.
Nice.
Quite a few likes, and I've done a couple. It's not my first video, but it's a combination of funny dog things. And now I said, well, if I do a coffee thing, how's that going to work? As long as you're telling TikTok, hey, I'm talking about coffee and dogs now, not just dogs. You just use the right hashtags, and it's very important to put the text in there you're going to use, what the product is, and then all that stuff in there. TikTok's going to kind of figure out who your audience is. And they do a
Okay,
really good job of
you
finding your
said
audience.
it's important to put the text in there that you're going to use. What does that mean?
Oh yeah, it's just important to be very descriptive any place you can. Like in a description for whenever you have that little place to put your description, write text in there that explains what the video is about, and then make sure those hashtags are also about whatever it is. I use hashtags around coffee. I use hashtags around dogs. And what the channels that are really successful, say around one brand, are you just do a ton of different videos from a ton of different positions, right? A lot of different positioning, a lot of different trying this angle, trying with music, trying without music, doing all sorts of things. And that's one thing like these brands are doing. They have, they might have one product really, and you just do just a crap load of videos, 2 or 3 a day. Why are you laughing?
Yeah. How it uses. You sound like your head was going to something else and you replaced it with ton
I
load.
did.
Okay.
In my head,
Good work.
I converted a bad word to a decent word. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and then that's the one model. That's what a lot of companies are doing. That you can be successful with that. The other thing is what we were kind of doing, and you're messing around with as well. And I did this as well. Is you become an affiliate. When you become an affiliate, it's sort of churn and burn. You're finding a bunch of different products to do quick reviews on. But if you find a winner, for instance, Jim Ed, like I had that ring light I sold a couple yesterday. I said, man, this telescopic thing goes so high. Check this out. And I got a bunch of views for that. Didn't get any sales yet, but that's the thing. Once you find an affiliate product that works, do like 20-bit videos or something, just from different perspectives. Try doing that. Music, without music, voiceover, no voiceover. Just test a bunch of different perspectives, angles. One feature you might like is really cool. When you did that thing, you did a nice overall review. How about trying some other things, like a feature you really like about this? And one thing about TikTok, you got to surprise them. It's the hook. That's the hook. Is just like with Facebook ads too. The hook, I used to do some of that. You got to get them immediately in the first 2 seconds. If they don't watch, if they scroll away, you're not going to get any views. You need to hook them immediately, like saying, "You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe what happens when I do this. Dude, I can't believe this thing can do this. Whatever it is, just something like it's like, what is it? What is it? Right? So, and most of these products that are going to do really well are going to be the ones that are like something. It does something unique, something different. I think my pitch is 20% of the proceeds or profits go to dog rescue. That's a hook of sorts. It's like that's going to get people's attention, hopefully, for those who are interested in that kind of thing. It's a little harder to sell coffee that's the same as a lot of other coffee, basically, just a little more higher end. It's probably easier to get, oh, this really cool product does this thing different than everybody else. It's solving, I think when it's a problem solving product or does something really, really cool, that's usually what it is. It's like either it solves a problem or it's really, really cool. Something's really cool that this gadget does. That's usually it. It's surprising or shocking what this thing does. And I think you can have a winner that way. Affiliate stuff is more like with you and I, it's like if we have ADD, whatever the thing is, like moving on to the next one. I like that a little bit better. Just test a bunch of different things.
Right.
The last thing I'm saying, TikTok's algorithm basically is, I mentioned this, it's all about engagement. You want people to engage. And what TikTok automatically does this is you can have 0 followers, you put a video out there, and if you get the right people that like your stuff, and you can have 0 followers, and all of a sudden you could get 1 million followers based on the engagement. If TikTok with their algorithm deems that this video is worthy of being watched and people like it, they will continue to show your video to more and more people. And
Well,
that's the way it works.
it's
Viral.
kind
That's
of
how it goes viral.
common. It's common knowledge for you and I because we've been looking through some of this. But the way the TikTok works is you can put a video out, you're going to get around 200
Yeah.
views
Unless
automatically.
it's really bad.
That's their test. Like that's pretty impressive that your one video got over 4,000. That means that you pass the 200 and they go, oh, there's some engagement here. There's some stuff people want to see this. They pass it along. Maybe it gets to the 1,000 mark and they go, oh, it's still going strong. Then it got all the way
Right.
up to 4,000 because it's not like on YouTube or something else where something's gone to search out and they have to click on it. It's just scrolling through the For You page. The idea, of course, is once that video pops up on the For You page is if there's engagement, meaning they just watch it till the end, they watch 110% of it. Boom, that was great. You did a good job. You kept people on their TikTok, and that's what they're looking to do.
Yeah, and the more you do this, and there's another thing too, the more you do this, they're going to give you a little bit more chance to succeed. So again, we don't know for sure, but it might be like, okay, Jim did one video and he does another video a year later. It's like, whatever. You're almost starting from scratch. But if you're doing a lot, there's a couple things. When you do a lot, the odds are higher that you're going to have one that goes viral. And secondly, you start building it up because now my video, my last one got really good too, almost 2,000. This one almost got 4,000. Now they're like, okay, my baseline is probably going to be 2,000 now in my videos. I started 2,000.
I've definitely seen where they'll change your baseline from 200 to like 1,000. And yeah, you may be on hurdle 3 already, just boom, automatic. And then, yeah, eventually I've heard, 50,000, that can be kind of the test market, if you will, for people who they trust are keeping the brand well on their TikTok channel.
Yes, for those Amazon influencers out there, the best model is probably going to be the affiliate model. That's what we're doing for Amazon anyway. You have these products. You might say, well, I don't know if maybe, is it possible I have some of these products already? It's possible, but these products they tend to be more of the gadgets, like low price things for the most part, at least right now. Those are the things that go viral right now on TikTok. You're going to have to probably get samples of those. Excuse me. And then if you get a lot of these suppliers, I'm really curious to see, Jim, how many of these products that you're getting from these Chinese suppliers, how many of them are being sold on TikTok? I love to be able to.
I've been kind of like keeping an eye out for some of that, and I noticed one today. Yeah, there's a shower head that I received that has a sprayer on it, and it was the exact same one. Here's the thing that I'm seeing, and I'm wondering if it's working because it come up on my For You. To a degree, there's a good chance it's working, and it's not just the same person I'm seeing over and over. But man, they're recording the computer monitor. They've got the product pulled up on like Amazon and they're showing, oh, look at this shower head. And they were talking all about it. I've seen it. Oh, look at these Milwaukee batteries. They're on here on Amazon for this, but they're on sale on TikTok right here for that. And they don't have the product. And I'm like, wow, that's some guerrilla marketing right there if I've ever seen any.
Yeah, I did mention that, like, with Amazon influencer, you can't get away with that. They want you to have the product in hand.
That ain't gonna work.
TikTok, I think from an authentic point of view, it's going to be a lot better. I think if you do have the product in hand, are there some people who can kind of do some picture collages, do some things that get some attention? You probably could, but I don't know. I think you could probably it's a spray and pray approach for sure, right? You might hope that one of those 100 videos pops off, you make some sales, but I don't think it's a long-term type strategy that's going to be good. But it is interesting for sure. All right, let's talk about FBA. Keep me honest here because we're already like 30 minutes into our podcast, and we usually like to keep these under an hour. So I'll go ahead and it's just a matter of how quickly I can move through it. I don't think it's going to take too long, but this is what I'm most excited about. I went through last week about all the Amazon stuff. I'm going to kind of mop up a little bit what we talked about. There's a lot of different methods you can do it. Ultimately, it's a little weird because I was not mixing up things, but it's like there's different methods, but like within RA, for instance, retail arbitrage, there's a lot of different ways to do retail arbitrage. And I mentioned the clearance method. That's not a great method because there's a lot of people are competing with. You can do it. You can get started with that. You can't scale it. But are there methods to do retail arbitrage where you can scale? Yes, and that was replenishables, right? Replens uses an RA method or OA method. The key with replens is you're getting products that are not necessarily even on sale. That's one thing too. There's another method, sort of a hybrid method. It's not clearance, but you're always getting items that are on sale. That's how you make your money. Can you scale it? You kind of can. And Jimmy Smith even talked about this in his course with the replens formula. Is like, if there's cyclical sales you know about, and I know this one company I buy from a lot, I know when this stuff's on sale and I buy it from them. And if it's not on sale, I buy it somewhere else at a higher price. But I'm always jumping on. It's a replens, but I'm always looking for the best price, and I'm going to wait till it's on sale somewhere. That's something you can do. Again, it's RA, OA, just the method you're doing it. RA is not better than OA. It's just different methods, right? If you're going to buy in bulk, though, ultimately, I would say usually OA is your best method because you want to order in bulk from these websites. Traditional retailers, Walmart, you can't walk into a store and get 100 items usually, but you can order 100 from walmart.com, right? So I do that all the time. That's the idea, the way it works. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I didn't answer with that. Yeah, and I didn't mention much about the way you ship it to Amazon, but there's definitely some criteria you need to use. Like whenever you're getting your items prepped, that can be a big sticking point. It took me a little while to figure this out. Like you get your items, there's a label that goes on the item that before you can ship it to Amazon. It's your identifier basically for you, for your seller, for your account basically, and also identifies that this product you're selling. And then secondly, like that's a good question. Is that item? Yeah, I think that item that's going to be unique, that barcode for you, I believe. Regardless, you need to print something out, put it on your product, and then take those and box it together. And there's another set of labels, a UPS label, if you're using UPS, which I highly recommend because you get discounts, and then the Amazon label. Those go on the outside of the box, right? So every product needs to be, in most cases, needs to be labeled. Now, how do you do all that stuff? You can do it through Amazon, Seller Central. You can do it, but I use inventorylab.com. There's a lot of other third-party tools. I'll put that in the show notes. Inventory Lab is great because you can do everything. You can list the product in Inventory Lab. You can do all your box. There's another thing too. You got to tell Amazon what items are in which boxes. I have 25 boxes, and you need to tell Amazon, I've got 10 of this item, 15 of this item in this box. I got 10 of this item, 15, 20 of this item in this box. You have to tell them. Inventory Lab makes it very easy. And there's a lot of manual ways to do it. And there's also some nice ways to do it with Inventory Lab. That's
okay,
one thing.
And Andrew's jumped in here with a lot of info really quick, and that's great. Just kind of recap a little bit. What we're talking about here is Amazon FBA. Andrew is getting products from online mostly, but sometimes retail stores as well, but not really talking about clearance items. We're talking about stuff that he can get week after week, things that are sometimes on sale, which he'll take advantage of, which is just going to increase his margins. And then he's getting those brought to his actual, in this situation, to his home. His business is directly out of his home in this situation. And then I believe he has some people come in that helps him get some of this stuff boxed up because he's busy, looking for newer items to do or, getting new bundles built and all this kind of stuff. He's talking about using what'd you call it? What lab?
It's called Inventory Lab, and I'll put
Inventory Lab.
It's a great tool.
In the show notes.
Yeah.
Yep. And just using that as a way to get everything done up and sent up the way they want it. One question I had for you, you mentioned using UPS, which is going to be the solution for probably, 99% of the people. You live in a major city. Is there not a place where you could just go drop it off at a Amazon location?
Can't do it. Yeah, you have to ship it to them.
Interesting. I bet they changed that at some point.
I don't know. Yeah, as long as I've been doing it, they always said you cannot drop it off. You have to ship it.
Well, I'll tell you this, though. I drive a lot in sales, and I've passed some of these Amazon centers in the mornings, and it's semi-trucks backed up trying to get stuff dropped off. So, yeah, that might not be a good idea.
Yeah.
As many people that are out there doing what you do to have a whole line of automobiles dropping off a box.
Yeah, they wouldn't accept it. Absolutely.
Wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, and there's people doing pallet loads. I don't really do pallet. I don't really. I've done a couple in the past, but I don't need to do pallets. I just, it's getting to a point where I've got a lot of boxes, but it's fine. The UPS guy comes by, picks up my 25 to 30 boxes. It works pretty well.
What's that cost to ship those boxes?
It's pretty decent. Usually it's like per pound. It's usually 30 to 40 cents a pound, basically, to ship it. It's a good rate you can get from it's UPS partner. It's a partner carrier for Amazon. That's how if you just use UPS outside of Amazon, it would be a ton more money to do that. So that's that. And the other thing two. Oh yeah, inventory lab. Another cool thing is profits. You can really look on there and see. That's one really important thing. How much money are you making? All the costs are in one place. You can see I made this much per product. You also can see what your profit is for the month, which is crucial. You can really see what's going on. Like, shoot, I just spent $500 on advertising or $1,000 on advertising. I mean, I'm really hurting right here. But it's like all your costs are brought in there. I would really highly recommend using some third-party tools that really help you with profit. Also, when it comes to tax, for tax purposes, it's nice to have tools like that because some of the Amazon stuff can be a little bit messy to pull into your tax software.
How much a month are you spending on advertising?
Not much at all. It's probably a couple, $200-$300 right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm really, because I haven't been I haven't been launching new bundles, just sticking on the bundles that are already ranked. And that's one thing I'll talk about here in a little bit with bundles. For the most part, there's different strategies. We went to that conference. We went to the PAC conference. Jim, Ed, you were in there with me. And this guy was talking about you should always be doing advertising for all your products on an ongoing basis. And I'm not doing, I'm doing that to a certain extent, but not to the level he was talking about. I'm like, if it's ranked and it's making money, I'm good. I don't need to be spending throw a whole lot of money at the advertising if it's bringing me, sales. That's the way I look at things. Yeah, cool. Yeah, good question. Yeah, good summary and good recap on that, Jim Ed. Okay, what are the benefits of bundles? I gave you some examples of bundles last podcast. I don't need to go in those details. But the cool thing about a bundle is that you can have your own listing. I already mentioned before, when you jump on listings, you're sort of like, you can price it how you want to, but even though you can sometimes get sales if it's priced a little bit higher than the buy box, and if you're not sure what the buy box is, whenever you go to Amazon, whatever that little buy now, that little add to cart button, you'll see that's only for one seller per listing. That's the buy box. But you'll see that price is normally going to be the price you set it at. Okay, and then if you want to change something, like I don't like the way this title is, I don't like the way the image is in this listing, you can try to change it, but usually you're not going to be able to change it. But when you have your own listing, when you have your own and you control that listing, you can change the title, you can change the description, you can change the images, you can do really anything you want to with that. So that's huge. That's very powerful. And the second thing about this is the pricing. I've noticed with bundles, a product I'm selling, maybe the single one of this might be selling for $20. And with my listing, with my bundled item, which is still pretty inexpensive, I can sell it for $25, $5 more expensive. And then there goes your $5 or $6 profit right there. Because there's times where if I'm selling it at $20, I make zero or below. I don't know how these other sellers are making money, but they're either making very slim margins or they're getting a lot cheaper than I am.
Well, that's something you and I have kind of talked a lot about offline. It's like you're in competition with so many other people for that buy box. And the way to win that competition is be the cheapest, right? It's one way of winning it. What a lot of people do is they just drop the price. Everybody's fighting to be the lowest price.
Race to the bottom.
We're gonna fight till nobody's making any money. But you, on the other hand, you've changed the listing. It's not that same listing. It is that same product plus something. And now you're the only one on the listing. And people get in the habit of buying, going back and let's buy it again. Amazon makes it easy to just order it again or subscribe and save or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I can see where that's really smart and works out really well for you.
Subscribe and save is another benefit of that. Well, like when they subscribe, you're getting it. They're not subscribing. If they're subscribing to, when there's multiple people in that listing, I'm not even sure how that even works. There's multiple people in that listing, how that even works. Who actually gets that sale? I guess you get it if you happen to have the buy box. But with me, if 30 people are subscribing to it, those 30 people are going to get my products, and they're going to be buying from me, which is awesome. And another level now with my listings right now, as is, people can still jump on your listing. That happened a lot. People jump on, and then I even had it shipped to my house a couple of times. The way Amazon actually asks you to, they say, look, if you got a problem with if someone's on your listing and you have an issue with that, you need to do a test buy. I ordered the product. I had this item, whatever I was selling with the bundled item. I had it shipped to my house, and guess what? It did not have the bundled item, just had the product itself. Ooh. And so I was like, not as described, Amazon. And then what happens is Amazon immediately took their listing down. So but it's a pain. It's a pain when you have 30, when you're selling 50 or 60 SKUs, and that happens it can happen every day for every single item. That happened a lot to where I was finally chasing people off. But what I've used lately is called transparency. Now, in order to use transparency, I'm not getting these weeds too much. You need to have a trademark. You need to have brand registry. It's called brand registry. And brand registry happens when you actually have a trademark for your brand. I have a brand and it's trademarked. You apply for that, and Amazon, once you have that, it opens up this whole arsenal of tools. One of the tools.
So when you're saying hang on, when you're saying trademarks, would that be like me trademarking the improvement channel, or trademarking that bundle?
Trademarking the improvement channel, your brand.
Okay.
Because that brand can be applied to every product you sell. Every single product, if you go to my listings, you'll see every single product has sold by like my brand name. It's my brand name. You're going to have a seller name, which could be the same as your brand name, but a brand name, you could have multiple brand names. The transparency, and again, just real quickly, there's a lot of details around this, but basically transparency allows you to say, okay, you kind of lock your listing, and the only people who can sell your product is if they have this transparency label on it, basically. It's a way to control the supply chain. There is probably different purposes for it. I think the original purpose was if you have a product that's being sold all over the place, you have distributors, and you want to be able to control the supply chain, and you have some rogue distributors who are selling your product, you can actually get those off there by they need to have transparency, a transparency label. It's literally a separate label that has a little QR code looking thing on it. What I've done is, for my product, my branded bundle, I have those where I've applied for it. I apply the one label that Amazon needs and another label, it's transparency. If someone tries to sell that, Amazon says, sorry, you can't sell my product because you need to have this, unless you can get the transparency label. The only way to get that label is to contact me and to say, can I have your transparency? And then of course, no one does because they know they can't get it. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Where does that, once you've applied and been accepted into that, where do the labels come from?
The labels, you print them out yourself. So there's two different places. One's going to be the inventory lab. You can print those out. Another one's going to be directly from the transparency website, that is Amazon's website. So you just print it out.
Sounds like was that a ton of work or not too bad?
It's a little bit extra effort, but there's some ways to probably streamline. But right now, 2 sets of labels. We got it in our process. We knock it out pretty quick.
Okay. I'm sorry. Just so I understand it. So the transparency label that you get approved for is for your brand. Like my brand is the improvement channel.
Yeah.
It's for your brand. And then you just put that transparency label on everything that goes through your company, your brand.
But the key with that is it locks your listing. People can't jump on your listing. And that's how I've been able to grow, because I have no price erosion. No one's jumping on my listings. No one's trying to take over the listings. No one's changing my listings. I've heard of it happening where people do jump on and change your listing somehow. I haven't had that issue yet. But there's some headaches involved. There's things that happen occasionally, and you have to just open cases. With Amazon, you gotta be patient. You got to open cases sometimes, be watching your stuff, be notified when things are going on. That's how it works. But that's a benefit with if you have a bundle, or if you even have your own product. Like if you have your own bottle, we talked about this last week. If you have your own unique bottle with your brand on it, you don't need to do a bundle. You can do transparency with this as well. But what bundles allows you to do is you can have your own unique product bundle, even though you're selling a branded product, right? For instance, Yeti, if I could sell Yeti, I might do something, I could bundle something with Yeti, and all of a sudden now I could sell this. I could sell this with something else, in theory, but I don't think I'm allowed to sell Yeti. Yeti is protected brand. Mentioned this last week. Okay, let me make sure that we get everything else. The cons of doing bundles. You have to figure out some unique bundles. You got to figure out what a good compelling bundle is going to be, right? Because just because you do a bundle doesn't mean it's going to sell. So you got to do your research. You got to make sure people are going to buy it. And then there's a lot to that. But there's a whole course on pack now, guys. Proven Amazon course has a bundle course that has all that information. You also have to get them ranked. Sometimes if you come up with a product, you think it's going to be great. Maybe it is going to be great. But if no one sees it, it's not going to sell. You have to get it ranked. How do you get it ranked? You got to do some pay-per-click advertising. How much do you need to spend? Maybe only 20, 30 bucks. Maybe I need to spend a couple hundred. It really depends. I can't tell you exactly how much. There's a method for that as well. And again, if there's any interest in this, I could go into more details on a later podcast. I'm even thinking about doing some sort of a course as well in the future. But anyway, I can probably do some more, but it's probably beyond the scope of this podcast to kind of get too much into Amazon FBA. But we'll figure it out. And then also you need to keep them ranked. Sometimes listings, they kind of die off. You got to figure out a way to do that. There's a lot. There's definitely some terms of how to do bundles, a proper way to do bundles. I'm not getting all those details right now, but just make sure to read up on the terms. But when you see things out there, just because someone's doing it doesn't mean it's okay to do it. If you see, oh, this is a really cool bundle, it's selling like crazy, just keep in mind there's a lot of gray areas. Jimmy, we talked about this a little bit. There's a lot of gray areas where people are being successful. Is it unethical? Not necessarily. It's just there's a lot of gray areas, I think, in life, but also with a lot of these things that you can be successful in it, and in some cases, even though Amazon may have said something, and there's probably some gray areas as far as what they're policing, what they're enforcing. And so I just say, look at what they're doing. My advice on the record would be make sure to follow their, make sure when your bundles are compliant whenever you get this done. That's
Yeah,
the way
for
to do it.
sure. I mean, to me, it's kind of like what we just talked about on the TikTok there. Recording the computer screen, that would be definitely no good on the Amazon program. And chances are that's not going to be long lived on the TikTok program either. So,
Right.
I'm okay with getting in the gray area some, but that's pretty far out there. Some of that stuff is. Yeah, definitely be careful with that. You're always best off building your business, building your online presence, whatever you're doing, not in the gray area, at least as much as possible.
Exactly. Well said. And we can end with the revenues just to kind of give you guys an idea of like how many bundles do I have right now? Okay, so I'm looking at my numbers here, and basically I made about $80,000 in revenues in November, and my final profit was around $15,000. It's about 20% margin. And I had about 77 SKUs that actually had some sales. I'm going to tell you right now, there's probably 50 of those that really got, over 30 sales per unit. Sorry, 30 sales per SKU, right? There's a lot that maybe got ones and twos. And it's kind of like the 80-20, right? There's a couple, I'd say 3 to 5 that just went crazy, right? That's usually what happens. You have some winners, but you have a lot of the other long tails, whatever you want to call it, that brought in some money. I had 77 active SKUs, bundles that made that money. And there's probably about 5 to 10 that really made most of that money up, or a good chunk of that money up.
Would you say for November you kept everything 100% in stock?
Absolutely not. I
Oh,
tried.
really?
I did
Yeah.
try. But it's a constant chasing. You're just trying to get stuff out as quickly as possible. Because what happens is it was hitting where 1 month this would go 50, then it did 80 the next month, then it did 100 next month. You're always chasing. You're just like, shoot, it keeps on selling. I can't keep it in stock. And and my approach has been a little conservative because I'm like, look, I'm already spending $40,000 on inventory. I mean, I don't want to go crazy. I was a little cautious, but despite all that, yes. Did I lose some sales because I didn't have things in stock? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there are some things that Amazon does, even when it's being in transit to the warehouse, you can still get those sales, which is really cool. The way there's some options that Amazon will let you sell things, even if you're not quote in stock. It's on
Yeah.
the way to being in stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
On average, about $202 per SKU per month in November. That just tells you get, for every product that you launch, there's a potential to make $200 to $100 to $200 for every item you sell. I'd say I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh man, those numbers are pretty darn amazing, Andrew. That's
Yeah.
congratulations, man. And I know you don't have your final or whatever maybe for December handy, but we've discussed some of that, and that's of course even better than November was. That's pretty cool. One thing that just with this podcast today, I've really and I have this revelation all the time with Amazon.
Yeah.
It's like, man, they are just so dang smart. They're just doing smart things all the time. You
Yeah.
know, Andrew, a dude over in Garland, Texas, spent $40,000 last month, basically gave them a no interest loan and bought product for them that's probably going to sell. You're over here doing market analysis on what sells the best, on what to keep
Mhm.
more stock in
Yeah.
what to buy. And it's just like there are people all over the world, but definitely all over this nation doing that like crazy. And it's like Amazon's just over here providing the way to do it. They're not providing the money. I mean, they're spending some money, but you start adding that up and it's like, man, that's a lot of money. And I mean, you're a good sized fish. There's many bigger, there's many, many,
Yeah.
many smaller, but it's just like, gosh, just think of how much that adds up. You spent 40K And again, look at Amazon influencer. People are over here going, and I'm no different. Well, do they sell this product on Amazon? Would I be just as happy with this ice maker over here on Amazon? Would I be just as happy with this wheat product over here versus the one that I saw at the store? You know, you start moving stuff toward buying it at Amazon, getting in the habit of buying it at Amazon, buying stuff that not us, we don't really recommend this, but a lot of other influencers out there talk about, I go search and see what's a busy product. I go buy it and I put it up and then I go sell it. And it's like,
Yep.
my gosh, guys, you're really, it's smart. It's just Amazon's very smart on this stuff.
And look at it this way. Yeah. Like I think I was calculating how much I made that whole year. But let's just say, based on my trajectory, I'll probably do $1 million of sales next year. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm at say $90,000 of sales times 12, that's almost 100. That's almost 1 million, right? So because
yeah, it's
yeah,
96. Yeah, 960,000.
That'd be 1.2 million, right? So and that those sales, Amazon's taking their cut of every one of those sales. We talked about this last week. 15% commission right off the top. $150,000 right off the top of it. Say I make $1 million, $150,000. They're like, thank you, cha-ching, cha-ching. Plus, whenever they ship it to the customer, they prepare it's picking and packing, fulfillment fees. They're going to get those numbers also. That's going to be another 5%, 10%, somewhere around there. They're smart and they love third parties. And here's the beautiful thing about it with bundles. It's something that didn't exist before, and now you're filling a little gap there. That's why it's important to have complementary things, because if you're creative, people are like, oh, I want that. That's cool. That's a great idea. You're bringing something new into the market that's interesting, that's resonating with customers, and Amazon's like, thank you, cha-ching, cha-ching, right? They're happy. They're happy. You're happy.
Dude, you are so right. Just that little detail there of taking a product that they would normally people be fighting to get down to $20 to not make any money. You've brought a new product to the market,
Yeah.
$25. And let me tell you, there's a big difference in $20 and $25 when you start talking about 15% that Amazon's getting. They're much happier with you bringing them a $25 product to sell. I'm currently listening to the Ultimate Sales Machine, and they're talking about how if you can get your sales staff to every time offer one complimentary product, and people will buy that one time out of 5, about how that was helping this sales team, like an individual on the sales team, make an extra $20K that year. And if the salesperson's making an extra $20K, the business is probably making an extra $80K. So beautiful. Yeah, and there you are. They've encouraged you through bundles to help raise the price a little, which raises their fees and raises how much money they get. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great model.
Need to go buy some Amazon stock, don't I? I'm so impressed.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And Jeff Bezos, he does his thing. I'm not going to talk bad about Jeff Bezos. I mean, we're on a public podcast, but
you got your monthly call with him too, right? So you don't
exactly.
That would be
you don't love everything about these. And there's some things I don't love about big companies for sure. I get it. I do understand it. Multiple revenue streams, guys. So I mean, Amazon's great right now, but that could just disappear like that, right? That's the thing. It could disappear overnight. Things could change. They set the rules. It's their playground, right? And it's their sandbox, whatever you want to call it. And it's like, if things change, then I'm gonna have to pivot. Amazon right now is great. And like I mentioned before, my second revenue stream I'm gonna really focus on a lot is Amazon influencer. And then slash TikTok, right? It's call it the affiliate revenue. I think I'd love to be able to get TikTok to about $1,000, $2,000 a month as well. And then doing sort of a blog that's all about an affiliate model, which is all about like all the software I mentioned, like Inventory Lab, for instance. They have an affiliate program. I'm using this product. I like it. I'm using it. I like it. Guess what? I'm going to recommend it. It's not promoting things that I don't use. It's promoting things I do use. But guess what? That gives me the advantage over other people. That's the beautiful thing about UGC anyway, right? Jim Ed, like I could just go on Amazon, read up on some product and just read the box or read the listing. Is that really going to help people very much? They can read. And even last night when Mandy was doing we did the little mill grinder thing, she's like, oh, I didn't go over the details on Amazon. They can just read those things. I'm showing you how to use it, how I use this product. Like, exactly. She's showing how to use the product. She's doing a demo of it the way she wants to use it. It's not like, oh, this thing is not, it's quiet, or this thing has RPMs per second, RPMs, this and that, and all these details. Who cares about that? Here, it works. This is how it works. Pour this wheat in here. It takes about 30 seconds to do it. And look at this. I have this wheat. Isn't this beautiful? I just made this wheat. That's it, right? She's
That's
using it.
cool.
Yeah, and that's it. And I
Yeah,
think
you can't read that. You're right.
you can't read
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
it's fun. The funny thing is there's a friend of ours that we know that we both know, and she had asked my wife, "What is it they do on the Amazon?" And she told her, about the bottom carousel and doing the review and all that. And she looked at her and said, "I don't ever look at those." And it's like, this detractors just crack
Oh,
me
yeah.
up. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you may not ever look at them, but there are lots of people, including myself, that have always looked at them, because maybe you're not buying something that you need to look at it, but I am. A lot of the tools and stuff that I use, I want to see them in use versus read about them. And a lot of times both, actually. You want to read about them, you want to get some of the specs, then you have an idea. Now it's time to see that thing in use and see what somebody's thoughts are about it. This whole microphone setup, one person had this microphone. I was under the microphone, looked at the review, and he said, "These are the 3 items that you need." I bought all 3 items. That's how it works.
That is awesome. Now that is adding value. I think, Jim Ed, I know a lot of these products you're taking individual, you're just doing this one product, but I know there's probably things in your shop where you are right now, you're in your shop, that you could probably say, well, I use this one with this one with this one. There's a review right there. Like, literally, there is a
Yeah.
review right there, and that's going to be very helpful. I love that you said that. Think about, and that's sort of like hit me when we were talking about the this or that thing. But it's a way to say, look, no, it's like, it's not necessarily saying is this better than this, but it's the idea of doing a lot of videos very quickly. They might say, okay, I'm gonna do a review just for this video, and I did a simple example with coffee, right? I've got the Keurig with coffee, and I tried a couple times, didn't seem to really work, but in theory, it makes a lot of sense, right? I have this Keurig, and then my favorite coffee for the Keurig is this one, and then they're going to buy hopefully the coffee or the Keurig. But that's not a great example. But there's tools that you oftentimes use together, those things that are complementary to each other. Why wouldn't you do a review? In fact, you're helping people, because I like that's what the microphone thing is. You can buy this microphone by itself, but you need the preamp to make it work, right? There might be people who don't know that. Like, in fact, myself, I even asked you, why'd you buy a preamp? You're like, well, you're supposed to buy it. That's how it works.
The guy on Amazon said to.
But you need a stand too, right? You buy a stand also for it that come with it.
Yeah, had to buy it all separate. 4 items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what stand do I use? Use this stand right here.
Yeah, and I needed all that explained to me. But, and look, guys, here's another like really golden thing for you folks that stick around to the end. Good for you, because I got something really good. Andrew and I talk daily. Okay, Cody and I talk daily. Andrew, Cody, and I talk occasionally, on all 3 of us. But whenever there's the 3 of us together and we're talking on the phone, a lot of times we'll start bouncing ideas and we'll come up with something, just like what happened on the podcast just now. Andrew stated the obvious to a degree. Well, why, that's good. That's perfect. How that guy did it is perfect. Yeah. And I have tools that do that. Well, then I start thinking, I'm not thinking tools anymore. I'm thinking, why don't I get on my listing and see what my top 20 items were? It was on a previous podcast. I went over a bunch of them. Why don't I see what on those items, what fit together, what complement each other, and why don't I shoot a brand new video with item number 1 and item number 5? They are in the same category. We're not going to really compare them. They're 2 different products, but let's say here's a couple of the favorite items that I use whenever I'm doing this, and shoot a brand new video. And chances are you're going to tag both items. You may end up on both items as a new listing on one of your top items. I may be showing up a second time on the listing.
Yep.
I mean, and I just come up with that because Andrew mentioned how that was a good idea and how you could do it over here. But I put another layer on it and say, hey, why don't we just start with our top items?
I got another layer.
Hit it.
Alive, man, alive. We already have
Yeah.
a listener. We're gonna have her on one of our podcasts. She's already said she's interested in joining.
All
Stacy,
right. Oh,
hey,
cool.
Stacy,
Yeah.
you said that you'd do it. You're in now because we're announcing it on the podcast. And she's been doing some lives. She'll share her numbers with you, but she's just getting started with it. Jim Ed, why not a live when you're using those tools and you're doing a project? You're actually saying, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Could be simple, but could you do a live, have the camera on you? You do the YouTube stuff all the time. It's a little more raw, which is probably what people are looking for anyway. It's like, hey, I'm going to be doing today in my live. I'm going to be putting, what's a good example? I don't know. I'll put you on the spot, but
Man,
what's something that you could do?
unfortunately, I just did this. Oh,
Okay, but what did you do? And then how could you have done that into a
all
live?
right. I'm
What would
gonna
that have
show
been?
you. This is gonna only be for those people out there that watch us on YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah,
But you see that chair up there?
yeah, yep,
That chair up there is a product I got from China. And sorry, I'm having a hard time holding this computer to see it. There's a couple little arms coming out and a piece of metal going across. That chair come in a 10 pack. So it's like, oh, these are going to be awesome when you need to break out some folding chairs. But where am I going to put them when I'm not using them? I'm putting them up high. As you can see, that's way up high. I got to
yeah.
get on a ladder and I can slide all 10 chairs onto that. I just put
Is
one
there a
of them up
pulley
there for the
system or
spacing.
something?
Pardon?
Pulley system or something like that?
No, it's just a piece of metal that I welded up, and you can just slide the chairs on top of it
I
from the
see.
ladder. But I spent 30 minutes last night cutting that all up and putting it together. I could have taken that 30-minute project and easily made it an hour and a half and done a live video on it. It just takes longer when you're having to move stuff around. And
Yeah,
and
that's a
and realistically, if I was going to do a live on that, what I'd probably do is have Anne Marie out here, my wife, helping
yeah.
me and saying, "Okay, grab this," just so that I'm not having to get off camera and get something. I don't. I think that'd be a little bit of a detractor if you're jumping on and off camera. You're off about as much as you're on.
Yeah, and it could just literally be, I'm gonna show you how to use this, right? You have more time though. It's not gonna be an Amazon video that's people are 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Now you're actually on there for 30 minutes and you're maybe talking about different uses
Oh,
for
but
this
yeah,
tool.
man, I used my
There's
Milwaukee
all sorts of stuff you can do.
impact driver, all the
Yeah,
little drivers and tools and drills, and my welder, my
yep.
welding hood, my gloves, just my grinder, just on and on and on. Just the things that were used.
It's like just almost like what do they call it? Like
Banana,
looking behind the hood a little bit
just
to see what's
kidding.
going
Onion,
on. People love that. It's the idea like now people like I want to see like Jim. I'm actually curious. What's Jim Ed up to tonight? He's doing some project in his. I wonder what he's doing. And it's
yeah.
like there's something. And again, hopefully, whatever
Cut
the live.
cut to a cut to a tripod with me sitting on the recliner watching TV.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like cooking. If you are into cooking, think about like and Mandy even too. She could do a live with. Okay, now I'm doing a different sort of recipe for my bread. I'm going to do Ezekiel bread. I'll show you how to make Ezekiel bread. That would be a great live. It's like
Yeah,
maybe not
for
you wouldn't
sure.
be able to necessarily do all of it because it's like you're waiting for this to bake and do all. There's time things, whatever. But there's a lot of creative ways to do some things. I just think UGC is the root of all this, right? People want to see others. It's no longer like I got to go over to someone's house or I got to watch this on a TV show. Now it's like it's on demand for the most part.
Yeah,
Anything that you want to learn about, it's out there somewhere. It's a beautiful thing. I think we're only scratching the surface, Jim Ed. So this is exciting. We're at the right place. We're comfortable being on camera now. That's why, like in our little course, it said you don't need to be on camera, but we're going to talk about this a little bit and say, don't be afraid to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera, but you should be on camera.
if
Okay.
you're listening to the podcast now, get over it. Get on camera. It's not a big deal.
It's not. But anyway, I think yeah, we mentioned our course. Our course is live now. So if you want to take advantage of it, it's proven azinfluencer.com. We've got some people already coming into our Facebook group. We've been interacting with them and it's been a lot of fun. So we can't wait. A couple of weeks. We're going to
Yeah,
actually
the
go.
course is live, but the course hasn't started. So get on
Yeah.
in there. Now is the window. Hit it.
Yes. And we're starting officially January 24th is when it begins. It all begins between now and then. And yeah, we'll be there. The Facebook group, like I said, it's going on right now. Jump in and we'll see you on the inside. All right. Rock on, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great day.